My mother was about 8 years old, and she would walk to school every day with a friend of hers back in the day when you could walk to school safely. And she was in New York. And so one day, instead of waiting for her friend to arrive, she felt prompted to leave early. So she walked alone, and she had her lunch money for afterwards. And as she was walking to school, a rabbi appeared unto her, or came unto her, and said, "Maidala, Maidala, I need you to help me." And she looked at him. She says, "What do you need?" He says, "I need subway money to get across town. I'm in the wrong part of town." And she reached into her pocket, and she pulled out 15 cents, and she gave it to him. She said, "If you need more, I can get it for you. I can run back to my house." He said, "No, this is the perfect amount of what I need." And he said, "I want to pray for you, a blessing." So he put his hand upon my mother's head, and as he prayed for her, what happened was the presence of God came on her, and she felt that presence of God. But Sid, what I didn't tell you was this: the minute the rabbi appeared, all of a sudden, all the traffic and everything on the street stopped instantly, and she was caught up in that moment of time. And as he released his hand from her, all of a sudden, everything started moving again. And as she turned and looked, the rabbi was gone. And she hid that in her heart. She didn't tell anybody that for years. But that's when she had first picked up the prophetic gifting of dreams and visions as an unsaved person that didn't yet know the Messiah, yet God began to visit her.
And then when she had a clear presentation of the gospel, she became a believer. And she passed that prophetic gift on to you. By 20, you had a lifestyle of drug trafficking. And just before the big arrest, you actually had a warning from God.
I was in my bed. It was the night before I was going to go steal our second jet that month.
You steal your second jet? You say you let it roll off your tongue as if it's nothing.
Well, it's interesting. You get cooked like a lobster in cold water. That's how the enemy does it. And he slowly turns up the heat, Sid. And the next thing you know, you're fully cooked. That's how the enemy gets us into sin. So it was our second jet that month. It was a Cessna Citation II jet, and it was going to come in blue and white. And in the dream, I saw an arrest scene. The plane didn't come in blue and white. It came in brown and white. It had a dent in the left wing. It wasn't at 8 o'clock in the morning. It was at 9:05 in the morning. And we were arrested right there. There was a Mercedes-Benz. We weren't going to have the Mercedes there. So none of this dream made sense because nothing lined up. And I woke up. And I was heart palpitating, and the phone rings. And I was rude to my mother on the phone. And that day, she said, "God, I give him to you. Preserve his life. Don't allow him to perish. Whatever you need to do to save him, I give my son to you." 24 hours later, this Mercedes-Benz shows up. The plane shows up late. Instead of 8 o'clock in the morning, it shows up at 9:05. It's a reverse sting operation with the U.S. Customs Service, the feds. And they rented a plane the night before with a dented wing. It was brown and white instead of blue and white, 9:05 in the morning. And we end up driving this Mercedes-Benz onto the tarmac in Boca Raton, Florida, and out comes feds out of planes, trains, automobiles, screwed Yeezys into my ear, ruined my orange juice morning. I didn't pass go. I didn't collect $200. I spent the next 19 years, 6 months, a week, and a day in federal prison. I woke up in Leavenworth Penitentiary when if you're not right with God in Leavenworth, you're always just one heartbeat away from hell. But I had a praying mother.